If you're somebody who wants to see the missing link between a bourbon-influenced malt whiskey and a heavily sherried malt whiskey, this kind of bridges the gap. Hey guys, welcome back to another Versus on McIntyre's Malts. This is a series where I pit two different whiskies up against one another with the intent of ultimately declaring one of the two a winner. This is based upon the nose of the whiskey, the taste of the whiskey, and the value prop that the whiskey presents. So if you are new here, thank you for coming along. My name is Wade, and if you enjoy whiskey content, please subscribe to this channel. And with that said, let's get stuck into today's verses. Glengoyne 12-year-old, and also the Glengoyne 18-year-old. Glengoyne 12. You can see the color on this one? Nice and light. Oh, I can smell it from here. Lovely. Okay. And let's pour the Glengoyne 18. Okay. This color is a little bit darker on this one, as to be expected. All right, let's do a comparison of the two side by side. Yeah, I'm sure you can pick that up on the camera. There's a definite slight darker tone on the 18 here than the 12 over here. Let's begin with the nose on the Glengoyne 12. Maltiness and oak are the first things that hit you. There's a darker honey note. Just caught a tiny hint of coconut on this one this time. I think this is very much a quintessential malt whiskey, right? Let's now try the nose on the Glengoyne 18. It's a deeper nose. There's a lot more to pick up on this one. Very prominent for me on the Glengoyne 18 is red fruit, red apple skins. There's nuttiness here. The oak is also there. And I'm just getting notes come through of like a sourdough, a breadiness underneath as well. The Glengoyne 12 retails in Australia around $100, and the Glengoyne 18 about $170 at the low end, right up to $250 plus at the high end. The Glengoyne 12 is 43% ABV, and the Glengoyne 18 is also 43% ABV. Both of them are natural colored, and I believe both of them are chill filtered. Let's try now with the Glengoyne 12 on the first sip. It's bitey. There's a sharpness even at 43% ABV. It has a bit of prickle. It's more youthful. Lots of malt. There is a sweetness there, a darker honey or even a toffee note. over time on my palate, a little bit more of the oak influence. Finish is medium. Almost a toasted coconut note as well that's developing on my palate. Okay, let's take the Glengoyne 18 now and try the first sip. Much softer on the palate initially. You can absolutely tell that they are siblings. I wouldn't say delicate. It still has some heft at 43% ABV, but it's a lot more restrained than the 12-year-old. Similar notes, but with more of the toffee note developed. The bitterness doesn't appear to be the oak bitterness. It more so now comes as the bitterness from the apple skin. If you've ever chewed a red apple skin and you get that little bit of sharpness that contrasts with the sweet flesh of the red apple. Absolutely malt, and the nutty notes coming through from the Oloroso sherry influence on this one. Okay, let's go now on the final sip on the Glengoyne 12 and the finish. It's just a good all-rounder, a typical Highland single malt whiskey. No change in the notes that I'm picking up. Medium finish, a little bit of the bitterness and dryness hanging around. Malt, dark honey, toffee notes, and that slight coconut, just that touch from the oak influence. Back to the Glengoyne 18 on the palate and the finish. Red apple skins, more of the sourdough. I would say this is a middle ground, right? If you're somebody who wants to see the missing link between a bourbon influenced malt whiskey and a heavily sherried malt whiskey, this kind of bridges the gap, right? It's right in the middle where you're not getting too much sherry and you're not getting not enough sherry influence. It's a really nice balancing act on the 18. In terms of the nosing, I prefer the Glengoyne 18. In terms of the palate, the 18 is also a medium length finish with a little more of the sweetness hanging around rather than the bitterness. I prefer the palate on the 18 as well. In terms of the value proposition, this is going to be different for each and every one of us as whiskey enthusiasts, depending on our own budget. $100 for the Glengoyne 12 it's a good dram, right? Nothing too complex, but enjoyable and good value for money. The Glengoyne 18, on the other hand, is an extreme jump in price. At $250, I wouldn't pull the trigger. There are, in my opinion, better 15-year-old whiskies in the market at a better price point. and a higher ABV, it's too much. It's overpriced at $250. If you can get this at $150, that's a bargain. That's an absolute steal and a fantastic price for an 18-year-old whiskey. I recently managed to secure a full bottle of the Glengoyne 18 on special for $170, and I think that is the correct price point where it belongs. If I factor that in and consider $100 for the Glengoyne 12 versus $170 for the Glengoyne 18, for me and what I'm comfortable spending within my budget on whiskey, the winner of today's challenge for me is the Glengoyne 18. Now, a caveat to that is if this whiskey was only available for $250, then the winner of the Versus Challenge today would have been the Glengoyne 12, purely because the 18 is not $150 better than the 12-year-old. So whilst I enjoy the 18 more on both the nose and the palate, I enjoy the Glengoyne 12 on my wallet more. Yeah, so I want to know, what do you guys think? Have you tried the Glengoyne 12? Have you tried the 18? Have you tried the older expressions, the 21s, the 25s? I enjoy them very much. I like Glengoyne as a distillery, and I look forward to the next verses with you guys. So if you've enjoyed this one today, leave a like on the video and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more whiskey content just like this. And I'm going to finish today with the last of this little bottle of Glengoyne 18, Slanjavar.